What's up, everybody? It is Thursday, October 22nd, and we are going live right here in Phoenix. It's just past 10 a.m. Got so many things to talk about. We'll see where the conversation leads us, so stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's Greg Corbett with the AZ Lifestyle Group right here in Phoenix, Arizona. If this is your first time to this channel and you're looking to find out everything you need to know about what it's like living in and or moving to the Phoenix metro area, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you can be notified whenever we post a new video. We are helping people from all over when it comes to finding the best places and neighborhoods to live here, and we absolutely love it. So if you're even thinking about moving or relocating and you need any assistance whatsoever, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email. However you want to get a hold of us, we got your back when it comes to moving to the Phoenix metro. All right, so let's jump into it. Let me go ahead and bring our good friend, my partner, Rudy with Prime Lending. Rudy, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm great. Yourself?
I'm doing good. Another lovely Thursday morning, and always good to get on the horn with you.
And the weather, once again, getting better and better every single day. I thought I saw that this weekend, Saturday or Sunday, it's going to be a high of 78 or 80, which I don't even remember what that feels like anymore. So that's going to be amazing.
It's like we're going on vacation or something. We don't even have to leave.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I think Monday there was like a rain cloud in the forecast. I was like, what's rain? I don't know what rain is. I don't think we've seen any rain. I don't know. It feels like years, but we could use it. And it was like a high of like 67. I'm like, where are we at?
Yes.
I think we're going on vacation in Seattle.
It's like another world that we're living in. I can't wait.
I'll take it. I talk about this all the time. I mean, we've had a brutal summer, and it's nice to see these cooler temps come in. And I've talked about it in a few of my other videos as far as the heat, knowing that once you get to Halloween, that's usually the kind of the end point where going into November, December, you've got the reprieve. I think it just lasted like the triple digits lasted a little longer, a lot longer this year, and it just kind of wore on a few of us, including myself. Maybe not Rudy because he's Mr. Positive.
Yeah, the world is perfect. What are you talking about?
You've only lived here for 2 years, Rudy, so everything is still nice and rosy for you.
I'm a little naive right now. You're right.
Yeah, wait till next year. No, I'm just kidding. There's so much to talk about. We could go into. I've seen a bunch of market updates and conditions that we could probably share with some people. I wanted to talk to you about second home financing. We kind of went through that today, and I've had other people reach out to me kind of discussing that. I thought that was good. I had some clients in town from California, and we went and looked at a couple new build communities over the weekend. I found that process, some of the stuff of what's going on over there. So there's so much stuff that we can get into. So if you're watching out there and want to hear anything, have any questions, send us a comment and let us know what's going on and what info we can provide to you. Anything that stands out to you up front that you want to get into, Rudy?
Well, on the topic of second homes, one of the beauties right now with rates being where they are is that the difference in interest rate between a primary residence and what is considered a second home. Now, a second home is considered a home, obviously, that is not going to be your primary place of living, and it can be in another state. It can even be in the same state, just as long as you meet certain distance requirements for it to be technically a second home. You can't buy a house down the street and call it a second home.
Yep.
Obviously, that's not going to happen. So it's a minimum of 10% down. The interest rates are still super low. There's a lot of different qualifying matrices that are taken into effect. But for the most part, if you qualify and you've got the down payment and you're able to do it, man, it's a great way to buy another home without you necessarily having to sell your current home. So to your point, a lot of people are doing it right now. Yeah,
and it's come up in multiple conversations that I've had, and obviously not obviously for depending on who's watching, but my wife and I just did a Flagstaff video because we're considering on our end too, just because of how brutal the summer was, and we're like, hey, now with her being able to work remotely, me being able to kind of go back and forth because it's only a 2-hour drive away, it's like, what can we do to potentially have a spot up in Flag for next summer and kind of prepare for that? And I've had a lot of other friends of mine and colleagues reaching out, kind of asking that same question. And I think a lot of people think that if you're buying a second home, that you're not going to get those interest rates. And as Rudy just mentioned, and we had discussed ourselves, over a conversation, they're pretty much the same. Your interest rates are going to go up if you're past that. If you already have a second home and maybe you start doing investment properties, then that's where the interest rate goes up, if I'm correct, Rudy.
Yeah, when you're buying what's truly an investment property, meaning you're going to rent it out, and it's not going to be either your primary nor a second home. You don't even plan on living in it at all. Then yes, the interest rates do shoot up a little bit. By about a point and a half at the most.
So not too bad. Not too bad.
It's not terrible. Not right now. It's not. So
yep.
No, and right now, second homes / vacation homes are actually on the rise. There's that segment of the nation is actually up quite a bit, and simply because the consensus seems to be that with COVID, obviously people aren't necessarily traveling and staying in hotels anymore. So people that can actually buy a vacation / second home are doing so, and they're taking advantage of these low rates and the opportunity to do so, where maybe in another interest rate environment they would not have been so quick to pull the trigger. Yeah,
no, it totally makes sense for a lot of what's happened this year. I think people are responding to this year in so many different ways, and I think everybody's trying to do their best to prepare for what we're going to be dealing with going into 2021. And it's anybody's guess. I mean, between COVID and elections and the real estate market, I mean, for all of you guys who are watching on YouTube, I'm sure you see, I don't know how many things in thumbnails I see of people predicting what's going to happen in 2021. It's pretty entertaining to see, but everybody's got some valid opinions and points, and I try to take a little bit of both. The people who are feel very positive about going into next year market wise, and also the people who are a little bit concerned about some of the stuff that's happening and feel like we could be turning a corner for the negative when it comes to the housing market. It's truly anybody's guess. I don't know if I have any leaning in my mindset. I feel like my wife and I talk about this a lot when it comes to us potentially buying a second home in Flag and trying to guess the market. It's like, I don't think that whether it's Phoenix area or Flagstaff is going to be cooling off anytime soon based on everything we're seeing right now. And I see more people wanting to be here and up north. So in my mind, I think we're going to be in a strong market going forward, but it's so hard to know.
Well, yes, you're absolutely right. It's so hard to know, but obviously the market can sometimes give clues that kind of give you an idea. One of which that I found interesting, and this was on a call that I got on about a week or two ago, is that when you start seeing rental rates start dropping, usually that can be a sign of potential concern coming down the road. And I never knew that. And so now, rental rates are still consistent here. They're still on the upward trend. But if us real estate professionals start noticing that the rental rates start dropping, there could potentially be some.
But they call that a leading indicator. Is that right? Or is that a lagging indicator?
It's probably a leading indicator. And when things start turning a little bit, cooling down a little bit, it's still 8 to 10 months down the road when you actually start seeing the cooling down effects take place. So every week that keeps going where we're a hot market, prices still keep going up, is another week that's pushed out and pushed out and pushed out 8 to 10 months from now. So if we're going into the end of the year, first quarter of 2021, we're looking at 2022 when
that's a good point.
Prices might start dropping and you might start seeing a little bit of a cool down. So I wouldn't think, I'm going to wait 6 months, because I think that's when, it's a good time to buy a house, because the prices might drop, because more than likely that's not going to be the case. It's going to be way further out.
Yeah, I hear you. We've got a good morning from Chip. Chip, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey,
We Chip and I were out yesterday up in Silverleaf in Scottsdale, touring around that Silverleaf at DC Ranch.
Nice.
That was we toured a just under $19 million property. That'll be a video coming up here soon.
Yeah.
And then Chip, he's got my light predictions contingent upon the election a little bit, and with the low inventory and demand I think our market continues same upward trend. Yeah, I agree with that. Who knows how this election's going to affect stuff, and everybody's got their random opinion on that. I have no idea. I'm sure it's going to affect it to a certain extent, but no matter who wins. But yeah, it's a little crazy. But I feel kind of like what we just talked about with the demand and what Chip was saying. There's still going to be a strong amount of demand, no matter where people are. They're still going to want to move here. So.
Yeah, right now in the interest rate world, one of the talks that's been going on the last 48, 72 hours is the whole stimulus talk. So it looks like we're getting closer and closer to.
Did they put a cutoff date of Tuesday?
Is that what it was?
I thought that's what somebody told. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah.
Well, we're apparently past the cutoff, and they're still talking.
They're still talking. All right.
Yeah.
It's good news.
Apparently they're getting close to some stimulus agreement.
All right.
If that happens, that's great for stocks, not necessarily great for bonds. Meaning, and interest rates are usually they're based off of the mortgage-backed securities, the bond market. So if there is stimulus that is agreed upon, you could potentially see interest rates rise in the short term. And then obviously with the election coming up, then that's kind of a wild card that's still up in the air, looming, that we're not sure what's going to happen after the election. And
just an honest note, I'm hoping they come up with a stimulus package that works for everybody. It's been it's turned into been honestly a good year for everything that what myself and our family has gone through. It's surprisingly we weren't expecting this, and all of a sudden this craziness kind of took off over the last 4 months. I mean, it's been crazy, but I know a lot of people are still struggling. We have family members that got furloughed earlier. They're not going to be coming back to their jobs, and the jobs they're in are hard to find. So there's a lot of people that need the help, and so I'm 100% for helping those in need, because if we don't do it now, it's going to turn into a really, really tough situation for a lot of people. So we need to do it. So hopefully they figure it out.
Yeah, and I think going into the holidays, normally that could potentially be a hot time to get employment because of seasonal work. So hopefully that continues. Hopefully there's some more opportunities. If you have been furloughed, if you have lost your job, maybe you can find something with seasonal work that can help out, hopefully. Yeah,
well, and I'm hoping that with a lot of changes and everything, adjusting, there's going to be new opportunities for people who have had positive results with what's happened with this year and being able to work remotely, that they'll have new opportunities for people to come in. And so the jobs that maybe were out there before maybe turn into better opportunities. So we'll see.
Yeah. One thing I heard, it was around March, April, when the quarantine started and all this craziness started, is I was listening to a call, and the person said, who knows how long this pandemic and quarantine is going to last, but if you come out of this the same person as when you came in, then you probably didn't do a very good job. And I took that to heart. I thought, all of us, regardless of your situation, if you have the ability to maybe learn a new skill or I don't know, improve yourself in any sort of way during all this craziness going on, then there can be some positive in all this. And I don't know. I'm trying my best to maybe find that. Yeah,
no, I hear you. I think so. Yeah, Chip. Yeah, you're on board with that too, and with the stimulus going through, I think we want to all be, and we're seeing nationally. I feel, and I think Arizona has a little bump in coronavirus stuff too, but it feels like nationally we're hearing, I don't know, and everybody, and I'm in agreement, like the news just sucks, but so I don't know what's right, wrong, and different, but you hear that we're having another, significant increase in cases. What that means for us, as far as businesses and everybody social distancing and all that stuff. I mean, it seems like here in Arizona, relaxed a little bit. Obviously, we're all still wearing masks anytime we go anywhere where it's, shops, grocery stores, wherever you're going to. And then, the restaurants, it seems like it's been a little lax, but, for the most part, we've, I don't know. Who knows? I just hope that we can continue in the right direction. Everybody tries to stay safe, but we keep these businesses open the best we can.
I've been grilling a lot, so I've gained a couple pounds because I've been grilling burgers, chicken, steaks, you name it. I'll put it on the grill and see if it comes out pretty decently. So I've been.
It sounds delicious.
Yeah, and now with the weather being man,
it's the time for sure.
Right.
It sounds good. I might stop by. I'll wear a mask and make sure I'm safe, and then I'll stop by and grab a burger from you.
Please do. Love to have you.
It sounds delicious. I might come over for lunch.
Okay, well then I need to get out of here so I can start prepping the grill.
Get that grill going. So since we were talking about market updates, let me bring up let me bring up a snapshot first of what we got going on, and I'll switch the screen over here. So this is a little snapshot. This is crazy to me. This average sales price up 23% from last year, up 3% from last month, up at the 411 point. That's nuts. Our active listings. So this is actually good news that we're and actually I have a different thing because I thought we were up a little bit more on active listings. We've got another thing that I'll show you. So this actually doesn't show too much, down 40% from last year. That's what's pushing the demand. Still at a 1.5 months of supply. That's pretty much stayed the same. And then monthly sales, we're still trending up on that. Everything seems to be very similar to what we had in, or what's going to be happening in October. And then this kind of breaks it down a little bit more too. So again, the 9305 as far as monthly sales. This new inventory, so this is what I was talking about. So this is good news. So Armos actually has it at 10,000 new listings, which is up. That's a good thing because we need the inventory. I don't know if people are finally, in their homes and they're like, hey, I've finally got to an equity level that makes me want to move. I feel like that a lot of people are having that conversation. Total inventory is up monthly, just still year over year down. Anything else? List prices, sales price, all those are up. So I won't go over too much on stats. They end up boring the crap out of me, and I'm sure they do a lot with other people too. But I wanted to share just like a little glimpse of it because it kind of tells people really what's happening here, what they should expect when it comes to inventory, prices, and demand overall.
So one of the things that you mentioned about some of those stats is the equity, possibly making a move. And one of the things that my team and I do is we provide you options. That way you can know exactly if you're in the right situation, not only for your short-term goals, but for your long-term goals. And a couple things that have been going on recently with some of my clients is that initially we were thinking of refinancing, but then when just thinking about their long-term goals, their family needs, I've actually had a couple of people that instead of refinancing, they've actually thought about maybe moving up to another home because they realize that if I'm going to capitalize these low interest rates, I want to do it with my dream home. Most of them are in their dream home. So we're refinancing, we're lowering their payments, we're shortening their term, we're saving them money, we're helping them build generational wealth. But there's been a small, actually not so small, but a percentage of clients now that are thinking, you know what, I could actually use this equity and apply it toward a home that I really am going to love, that really is going to be my forever home, and I'm going to get an amazing interest rate. I'm not going to wait for interest rates to go up. I'm going to do it now. So something to consider when you're thinking about maybe refinancing or maybe even using that equity and applying that equity in different manners is all strategies that I go over with my clients that have really been very beneficial for their future real estate goals.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, even for myself, like we had that conversation too. I think it's a great conversation to have And just since we're talking about it right now, I'm gonna put Rudy's contact info up on the screen. So if you're thinking about it, give Rudy a call, because it is definitely something that it could make a huge difference in what your future financial situation looks like, and how much you can save per month if you're refinancing, or if you decide to make the move to a home that gives you everything you need, and maybe you might be paying less than you are now. So it's definitely worth a call. Unfortunately, I've got Rudy's contact information right over his mouth, so it kind of looks funny right now. But
so you told me to shut up.
I'll take that. No, I'll take that right off there. But I think you just need to pull your laptop screen forward a little bit, and then your head will pop up a little more.
Oh, okay. Well, then how about I just
there you go. Look at that. No, all good. So give Rudy a call on that. I think it's worth a conversation. I know, I'm between looking at a second home and then potentially refinancing it. And shoot, a lot of us refied back when we thought the rates were going to be insane. Like back in February, March, I refied in March thinking that was going to be a good deal, and I got 3.5%. And now it makes sense to potentially do it again in 6 months later, which is crazy to me, but it's a conversation you need to have, and especially for future planning. So, let us know for sure.
Well, and another thing too, we look at mortgages a little differently than I think most loan officers, because 83% of us have the majority of our net worth tied to our home. So that's a big deal. So just refinancing simply for the sake of maybe a lower rate, or for whatever reason that you have in mind, it might be a good idea. However, if you're not presented different options that can help your goals, you reach your goals for the short and long term, then you're doing yourself a disservice, or at least just having the conversation. Because I read somewhere that 44% of people have some form of regret within 1 to 2 years of buying or refinancing their home. And that's for that reason alone, is that most loan officers just take orders instead of actually providing advice.
Yeah.
So we take pride in providing advice. And sometimes maybe it's not a good idea to refinance now. Maybe it's a good idea to do something differently. So just keep that in mind. Well,
and I know one thing you mentioned to me because I was stuck on hey, if I just refinance, it just seems strange to put the money, and then what am I gonna do? Does it make sense for me to sell? I think for people in this position where potentially you've got a home that you want to hang on to, maybe you can refi, keep it, hang on to it, maybe turn it into a rental property later on. Have the low payment, lock in that low payment for a long time, then you can cash flow a little bit off of it, hopefully gain a little bit more in equity if you hang on to it. There's a lot of strategy that can set you up for future success if you do it right. And you just have to talk to the right people, and people have done it. Obviously Rudy's in that same boat. He has rental property from places that he's lived in the past, been able to turn that into a good situation. That's why, talk to people who have done it and kind of can take you through the process for sure.
Yeah. For me, there's a difference between just owning a home and being a successful homeowner. And, part of that is having a plan. And if it's your dream home, awesome. It's your dream home. Let's make that happen, and let's make sure that it's the right decision for this dream home. But if my wife and I, we learned very quickly that we like to move, and it doesn't necessarily mean moving to another part of the state or to the country, but our homes are not forever homes. And this is just our opinion, just our personal situation. So we buy a house, we live in it for a little while, and then we rent it out, and then we move into something else. And the cool thing about that is that you can use, if you have your home leased out, you can use that rental income to offset the payment. Therefore, the mortgage company isn't going to just hit you for that debt. They're going to also include the rental income to offset it. So your debt to income is actually improving because of that. And there's ways to do it. There's strategies to do it. And, we love it. So that's why we encourage people to have a different opinion when it comes to buying real estate. Yeah,
and it's stuff that people kind of struggle with and maybe are a little scared to do. But man, if you can get over those hurdles mentally,
Yeah.
and it can make a huge difference for your future. So highly recommend having the conversation, because you never know.
You never know, and
Yep.
things change. So
Yep.
you think your plan is one thing today, and then it can completely change tomorrow, and that's why it's always good to have the options.
We all know that very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been crazy. One other thing, I'll bring this up. I talked about this a little bit earlier, because most of what I have done in the market for most of the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years has always been in the resale market. I haven't had too many opportunities to bring somebody into some of the newer build subdivisions, in some of the outlying areas. We have a lot of interest in Peoria for people who are looking to move here, and we've done some videos on it. And I actually had some people come out, and really nice family come out and look. They're looking in Glendale and Peoria. We did have a chance to look at a couple new build communities, and what you're seeing online versus what you get once you go in there and kind of find out is a little different, because you think homes are available, and then you go in and there's like, yeah, well, we're on a long list of a waiting list of people, and we're releasing maybe 1 or 2 lots a week, if that, sometimes 1 or 2 a month. And I remember doing this back when I was in new home sales back in 2004, 5, and 6, similar situation. And then to try to not have lottery situations and people spending overnight and trying to do it. Now they have people bid on lot premiums. So they'll release a couple lots, and they'll be like, okay, well, whoever bids the highest on a lot premium potentially wins. So now you're
Wow.
bidding on that. It's a little it's crazy. I mean, it makes, like, I know builders are in a lose-lose situation, I guess a win-win situation when it comes to demand, but when it comes to trying to make everybody happy, it's in a lose-lose situation. So you've got people who want houses, they want to build for you, but it's not that easy. So for anybody who's looking to be like, hey, I'll just go to a new home subdivision and buy, number one, it might cost you a little bit more. Number two, you might be waiting a while just to get access to writing a contract. And number three, you might be waiting a very long time to get in, because their build times are very slow right now.
Is it okay if I go over some pros and cons on new builds from a personal experience as a buyer and also as a loan officer?
Absolutely.
So pros, the house is brand new, right? For the most part, now it doesn't mean perfect. For the most part, your appliances, any sort of issues, it's going to take longer for that stuff to obviously arise, because it's a brand new house. Now it doesn't mean that it's going to be a year from now something might not break, but you get the warm and fuzzies that you're buying something that's brand new, never lived in. Unfortunately, from our personal experience, our very first house was a brand new build out in the suburbs, and we learned quickly that it wasn't for us living out in the suburbs, and we just weren't ready for that. We thought we were, but we weren't. Things changed, right? So when we put our house on the market, it took almost 12 months for it to sell, because we were competing against a builder who was building houses that were either the same price, or they were trying to undercut us because they could, and we were just trying to sell it so we weren't going to lose all of our money. We ended up living in a house an additional 12 months simply for that reason alone. And then on the loan officer side, I've had people that want to refinance their new builds that they purchased 2-3 years ago, and they just haven't appreciated quite as much as folks that have bought resale, because there's, again, a lot of new building coming up, and it just happened to where we're not able to refinance quite with the value that we thought we could, and we're having to kind of reevaluate the price. So it's
all things to consider.
All things to consider. It's just my personal experience from two sides.
And I mean, the other pros are like, and especially if you're not in a rush, and if you can lock in a price and have the house being built, and you can pick out however you want, and then you're locked in, so you're not paying what you might spend 12 months from now. Sometimes that is good for people. But yeah, I mean, all those things come into play. The biggest challenge I have with doing new construction is, if you want to do anything as far as upgrades go, I mean, you're getting gouged.
Yeah.
Anything on any upgrades are just insanely priced, and so it's one of those things from my end that depends on what you want. If you want and it depends on what the builder is and what their included features are. Not every builder is a little bit different, so I guess it's case by case. So I don't want to pigeonhole all builders into this, but man, there are definitely a lot of times where it's like, okay, well, just make sure that you know that base price that looks really nice might not be what you end up doing, and the model that you went to go see is probably $150K extra, and I'm talking like on a house that's like 300. 150. You could probably spend like 50% extra on some of what they did in the model. So obviously that would go up. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. No, I was going to say, and this is nothing against builders because, like I said, we bought a brand new house, and I've helped lots of clients buy brand new houses because that was the right solution for them. And really, if it's more of if you know for a fact that you're going to live there a long time, then that gives you time to help to allow all that stuff to build up in terms of the building out of around you and just in general. But you brought up a good point. The upgrades, they're not a dollar for dollar value transition, meaning if you put $30,000 of upgrades, your house is not worth $30,000 all of a sudden. So that's another thing to keep in mind that I've run across recently, that folks are refinancing and they thought their house was worth X because they put $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 worth of upgrades, but you forget that 2-3 houses down is that exact same floor plan, exact same model, without the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in upgrades. That's a comp. So just just a couple things to think about that you brought up a good point about.
Yeah, lots of things to consider for sure. We're over the 30. Chip, I don't know if you're still watching, Chip, but appreciate you coming in, chiming in a little bit. We don't have any other questions coming in right now. Rudy, is there anything before we jump off? Anything that you wanted to cover for anybody who's going to be watching later?
Just let us know if there's some options that we can go over for you guys. We'd love to help you. And, Greg and I love what we're doing. So please keep us in mind if you want to talk about some real estate goals. Yeah.
Let us know what your questions are, what we can do. Jump on a Zoom call with us. We're here to help. So, and hopefully have a little fun with people, kind of give them an idea of what's happening here in Phoenix. So, all right, Rudy, we'll let you go for now. Enjoy your Thursday, everybody else. You guys have a great Thursday as well. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back here next week with a lot cooler, maybe temperatures in the 70s. Man, sounds insane. Well, we'll do it live from Rudy's backyard, and he'll be barbecuing.
Right.
All right, everybody, take care. Have a great weekend. We'll see you.
See you guys.